Hi guys, how are you? I hope you have been good. I I just came on here to share something quite small. Um, I'm coming from a season where I've had a bit of a health challenge the past 2 weeks, and yeah, I don't like calling it disease. I just think about it as a challenge, and a disease is just the body's way of communicating that it's without ease. No wonder this is. They normally say that that's it. That's the body saying an area of it, a part of it, a part of its organ functionality, whatever, is functioning without ease, and basically just trying to bring to your attention, bring this lack of ease to your attention so that you can cater to it. And I just remember thinking how during that health challenge season phase, I remember thinking, enyewe, the truest measure of wealth has surely got to be health. And this awakening came to me in the midst, in the storm, in the belly of that season, that health challenge. And of course, when you're thinking it, you're not thinking it because you have the health that you are desiring. You're thinking it because there's a lack of, And it's in that moment that you start thinking about, oh my gosh, I remember the time when I did not have X. I remember the time when I did not have to go through. I did not feel what I'm feeling. I remember the time when I would sleep through the night and not to be able to recall a thing because the night was so smooth. But then here you are, and the nights are so long, so frustrating, so painful, so excruciating. And you can't just wait for the morning to come. I remember thinking to myself how there was a time I remember just feeling, oh my gosh, okay, I wish the morning would come faster. But then thinking about it, I wondered why morning coming, and in the morning sana I'll still be in the same predicament. And I realized for me, I associate morning, I associate mornings with hope, with new strength, with joy, even just the mere opportunity and privilege of getting to experience the sun on your skin. There's just something new that comes with the morning. And it's not always doom and gloom, of course. I always try to find the lesson, the hidden lesson, the gem in the season. And I realized that this health challenge was my body's way of telling me to slow down, slow all the way down. And that's a thing. I didn't even know that at TCG I was overwhelmed. Me, if you ask me, I think I handle things very well. I manage very well. I don't talk much about the things that overwhelm me. I think that's just my defense mechanism, or my coping mechanism. I try handle things differently. by not giving it too much attention. But now what ends up happening is my body ends up dealing with the bulk of the intensity and the pressure. And at one point or the other, it has to find expression outside. And by the time this was finding expression, by attacking my health, you guys, me, I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was that bad, honestly. But my body came to tell me to slow all the way down. Not somewhat, not take on a little, but slow all the way down. Even now, I feel it, because there are times I'd try to, do things here and there, but my body doesn't want it. It doesn't want it. My spirit doesn't want it. My soul doesn't want it. My will doesn't want it. It wants nothing. It just wanted stillness. And what that stillness felt to me was, that kind of satisfying feeling of when you're licking ice cream in a hot summer. That kind of feeling of it passing through, that kind of refreshing feeling. That is what the nothingness and stillness have been feeling like to me. Where I don't want music. I don't want things. I don't want. I felt like my body was saying, you're clouded, you're overwhelmed, you've created so much space and so much room for noise, where you are not accommodating what you really need. And what I really need is the stillness, or rather what I've felt like I've needed this past 2 weeks was just quietness, which was refreshing for my soul and my spirit. And that's the other thing also, in the midst of that storm, that health storm, what Nungo was feeling inside was that I'm crumbling. It almost felt like, I don't know if that is what death feels like, but it almost felt like I wouldn't be there the next, minute. That's what I felt then. That's Nungo inside, but Nungo outside in that storm was showing up for myself and showing up for myself. And that's the thing. I never realize that I'm fighting for myself. I fight for myself without realize I'm fighting for myself. I don't know how to give up on myself. Inside, I don't have the strength. I don't have nothing. But outside, I am pushing one more step. I am trying to go for a walk to keep the strength in my legs, because there's been no strength in my legs. There's been no strength in my body. I'm trying to lift myself up from the bed. I'm trying to get up, make my bed, take a shower, wear clean clothes, as in I'm trying to show up for myself in the tiniest of ways, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, honestly, without even thinking about it. What am I saying? Pay attention to your bodies. I know sometimes it normally feels like it's like having a child, for example, where you have a child that's crying, and by the time you figure out what exactly it is they're crying over, so that, because the crying is it's a nuisance to a degree when it goes on for a long time. But the crying, regardless of how it comes off, is the only way the baby has to communicate with the outside world, outside of themselves, that, yo, mom, dad, I need A, B, C, D. EFG is not working appropriately and I need you to pay attention to it for me. And sometimes that's what our bodies feel like when they send those SOSs, when it feels like something is shutting down, something is not at ease now, something is not functioning as it's supposed to. The headache, the discomfort, the pain, that's an SOS. That's the body crying for attention. But we're too overwhelmed. We don't pay attention. I've come out of this experience feeling like, and you know, sometimes, rather what I told myself was, yani, some things, couldn't I not learn to slow down, with the exception of, you know, the pain and the challenge and all that? And I actually realized that I probably wouldn't have paid attention. I probably wouldn't have listened. And which is why I'm saying what I want to say, that I feel like sometimes these health challenges, they're lessons, first of all. They come carrying valuable lessons. And therefore, I like calling them teachers, but they're very stern teachers. They're not teachers you go around laughing with, joking with. They're not that comedian, that comical of a teacher in class standing in front of the class teaching chemistry. No. No. They're very firm. They need you to understand what they're saying. They need you to, they need to communicate effectively. That if you do not pay attention to this lesson, you're gonna fail the exam. And yeah, and that's the thing. You never know. You never know what you have until you lose it. The price you have to pay to get to where you are. Sometimes where you are forever remains a memory. What your health was just becomes a memory, a figment of your imagination, now a memory. Meanwhile, you actually had a peace of mind from a different season of life, that because you abused it, now that liberty you had, that freedom you had, you're left just desiring, wishing, I wish I had that again. And we do that to ourselves often, where we abuse the little privileges that we've been given, because we are running, we are chasing, we are doing. I came out of this feeling, genuinely feeling like there's been a serious shift in perspective. There's a day, I don't know whether I've mentioned it, but there's a day I woke up in that storm in the middle of the night, and I just articulated this. And I don't know why I articulated it, but I know I articulated it because while in it, I did not feel it and I desired it. And it was my truth at that particular point, that genuinely speaking, the truest measure of wealth has got to be health. It has got to be health. Because when you think about it, when you have a clean bill of health in your corner, 90% of your troubles are sorted. 97% even. The rest can be dealt with. Money you can look for. You know, things you can get, you can source and find. Things you can sleep a pauper, wake up a, you know, things happen, luck changes. But health, that thing will stay with you. It will stay with you as a constant reminder of the consequences that now you have to bear with, courtesy of the choices you made. Hey, value your health, you guys. Value your health. And it just got me wondering, how do you measure wealth? How do you measure wealth? Have you had some shift in perspective like I have?